It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from Full Circle Brewery, and I'm really looking forward to trying this beer. Really looking forward to it. This is called Endless Return. It's a hazy pale at 5% ABV. Full Circle Brew Co, I should say, not brewery. So 5% ABV. I believe they're based up in Newcastle. I only know this. Lanchester, imported to Newcastle upon Tyne. Newcastle upon Tyne. I only know this because people rave about this brewery. People say this brewery produces some absolutely fantastic beer. And well, it's great then that I can go to my local Sainsbury's in Cardiff and pick up their beer, because other than that, there was no real kind of, well, there is never a choice of me going to Newcastle. If you're watching from America or Europe, that's like a 6-hour drive from me. So, not much chance of that. But the reason why I mention all of this is that although it's really important to support your local craft brewery and your local bottle shops, etc., I do that also. There is an importance in that you can still go to your supermarket and buy something from Full Circle Brew Co. And the distribution's there now. You can pick it up in Cardiff when this beer's made in Newcastle. Other than that, it would be me buying online. Buying the beer online. And I don't know about you. Even though all of my work is online, I'm a bit old-fashioned when it comes to buying stuff online. I'm a bit rubbish. I've always been a bit rubbish. Because I grew up in an era, in the 1980s, of going to the shop and looking at something and trying it on. A t-shirt or a coat or a pair of trainers. I'm used to picking things up and looking at it and going, yeah, I fancy that. And that's been kind of instilled in me. I'd much prefer to do that. I'd much prefer to jump on a train and go to Cardiff and shop, rather than browse internet pages and do things that way. So my instincts when I want to buy beer and drink beer is to go to the shop and pick things up, look at it, say, yeah, I fancy this, put it in the trolley and buy it. And that's exactly what I've done with this beer today. We got a 1 to 2 finger white head. Good levels of slow moving carbonation rolling up the glass. It's a really hazy looking beer. Really, really hazy, lovely, lovely looking beer. There's no sediment in the bottom of the glass. It's not a can conditioned beer. But look at that beer as I roll it around in the glass. Doesn't that look really, really good? Nice and hazy. Light amber in colour. Let's get the aroma. Oh, and that is full on. That is full on hops. Really juicy, tropical. But you're also picking up some of the oats in the beer. You're definitely picking up some of that kind of creamy oatiness. Rainy morning here in the UK. Rainy day, I should say, in the UK. Shouldn't say morning, really, should I? Rainy day in the UK, hence the kind of slamming of the rain on the roof. My apologies for that. But let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Oh, Stoner Crows. That is fantastic. That is a fantastic example of a beer that is so juicy, so lovely and tropical. It's got kind of New England IPA, New England Pale Ale written all over it. It's got that kind of creamy, rich, oaty body. There's a level of sweetness there. At the beginning of the taste, there's some sweetness over here, and then there's some bitterness on the back end. There's lovely balance, lovely balance on the beer. But flavour wise, it's all tin pineapple, orange peel, fleshy blood orange, grapefruit. It's like going to a shop and buying a tin of pineapple chunks in the kind of syrup, and opening the tin. You get that kind of sweet syrupy juice that's in there with that kind of pineapple chunk, and it's all that in the flavour of this beer. But it's all done with hops. All done with hops. This is all kind of, I have not looked at the can yet, but it's either going to be New Zealand, Australia or American hops in this beer. Going to sneeze then, just held it back a bit. Then you've got the kind of slightly kind of bitter hops coming through, and that's where that kind of orange peel comes through a little bit. Spicy, peppery, slightly bitter. And I like that also. I really like that also with the beer. I like the fact that you have this fantastic bitterness there. Because these beers, I think they benefit from a little bit of bitterness. Yes, it's probably a New England kind of pale ale style of beer, but at the same time, those beers tend to not be so bitter, but I like a little bit of bitterness in my beer. I like the fact that there's some bitterness there because it balances out that sweetness over here and that bitterness over there. It means you've got some balance in the beer. And I think balance is so important when you drink a beer, especially an IPA, because they've not got, or a pale ale, hazy pale. What I have noticed over the last 3 years, is that the New England IPA style has been dropped. Well and truly dropped from cans and bottles throughout the UK. You don't see it anymore. So what it is, New England of America, so Vermont, you had the Alchemist, and the Heady Topper was the beer that all of these hazy beers was based on. But it come from New England and America. So when we brought this style over here and we started selling it over here, we started selling it and we were calling it New England IPA. But of course, it's not New England, this is Old England over here. And I just think people were slightly confused by the naming of the beer, or NEIPA. NEIPA was the word, but you just don't see it anymore, not for the last 2 or 3 years. Everything's either hazy IPA, hazy pale ale, or IPA. We've dropped that kind of New England style because we're not from New England in the UK, are we? It might be based on that very style, but we can have our own interpretation on a particular style, can't we? So is there much to read on the side of the can? Not too much. Brewed in the UK, full circle brew. The hops are Cryopop, Centennial, Citra and Idaho 7. So mostly American hops then. So rating, the beer looks fantastic. Fantastic aroma. Fantastic taste. I really like that. I really like it. Superb tasting beer. I like that enough to give it a Stone the Crows 9 out of 10. So 9 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.